A movement in Michigan to change the way our state is districted. Right now, the current lines were drawn by Republicans back in 2011, and many of the districts determine really who wins or loses before voters even head to the polls.
That's why some lawmakers are pitching a nonpartisan redistricting commission to draw the lines in the future. And joining us now is Representative Jeremy Maas and Wayne State University's Law School Dean Jocelyn Benson. Thank you both for being with us.
Representative Maas, we want to start with you. You're one of the lawmakers here pushing for change. Why do you want to see the change?
Well, right here we're in Southfield in your studio, and Oakland County is ground zero for why we need redistricting reform in Michigan. Go to the center of Oakland County and put your finger on the map. Your finger will be on Pontiac, and from Pontiac, 3 congressional districts spiral around the Metro Detroit area, all to advantage one political party to win an extra congressional seat. As a result, West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Township, and Bloomfield Hills are in 3 different congressional districts, despite the fact that they're bordering communities and have similar interests. It doesn't make sense, and it's just so one party can get a partisan advantage in an election year.
Well, Dean Benson, is it possible for this to truly be nonpartisan?
Yes, I believe it is, but it's important that the plan in place involves lots of people's voices and a discussion moving forward. California provides a great model, and one of the things that they do to protect against partisanship is that they provide a veto power. Literally, people from each party can veto members of the commission that they feel are too partisan or would sway it one way or the other. It's one way to protect against radical partisans in either side being on the commission.
Can you educate us as to how often districts are redrawn here, the whole process that takes place?
Yes, the Constitution of the United States requires that congressional districts be of equal population, and so every 10 years when the census comes out and says how much population is in a particular state, that redefines both how many congressional leaders or congressional representatives are allocated per state, that's apportionment, and then on top of that each state then redraws its congressional districts to make sure that there's an equal number of people in each district.
Representative Maas, what needs to happen in order for this plan to move forward? Would it be in place before the 2016 election?
I'm hopeful. So we've introduced this, and our bills have been referred to the Elections Committee in the House of Representatives, where we're asking the committee chairwoman, who's a state rep from the west side of the state, to take it up for a hearing. This is worthy of a discussion. It's important that our congressional districts are compact, that they have similar communities, that have similar interests, because that's the best way that the citizens of Michigan can have fair representation. I'll give you a quick example. Farmington and Farmington Hills share a school district. They share emergency dispatch service. They share a state rep, a state senator, but they don't share a member of Congress. They have to duplicate efforts in order to advocate for anything on the federal level, and that is a disservice to the citizens of those communities.
Right now, Republicans control the House and the Senate. Dean Benson, I wonder, do you think that this would change the outcomes? That's the state House and the state Senate, by the way, I should say. But when we're talking about congressional districts here, do you think redistricting would change the outcomes of elections here in Michigan?
Well, we really don't know. And actually, that's not, in my view, even the point. The point is right now, the problem is that people are currently drawing their own districts. That's a conflict of interest that takes away the voters' opportunity to elect their candidates of choice. So what plans to reform the redistricting process would actually do was not only remove the partisanship from the process, hopefully, but really remove that conflict of interest, where you have lawmakers drawing their own districts, so to potentially or assumedly preserve their ability to get reelected, as opposed to allowing for an open democratic process.
Okay, Representative Maas, is there something that voters can do to help push along this process?
Sure. Call for a hearing. Ask the Elections Committee chairwoman in the House of Representatives to take this up for a hearing. I'd like to see this done legislatively. That's what we're called into Lansing to do, to tackle hard issues. If this has to be placed on the ballot next year for the voters to vote on, if it can't be done legislatively, stay tuned. There are a lot of nonpartisan agencies that are working together collaboratively to make this a priority here in Michigan.
All right. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Keep us posted.